On our panel tonight, Tom Moody and Sanjay Jha with me in the studio. Kirti Azad stays on. Bishen Singh Bedi is with us tonight. I'm also joined by Suhel Seth from London and Arun Lal is joining us from Kolkata. So my first question is to you, Mr. Bedi, what on earth is going on? I mean, this was about cricket. We have got touchy owners, unrepentant owners, badly behaved owners, politically incorrect owners, bratty behaviour, sting operations talking about spot fixing, a brawl, an arrest, a murderous attack, a character assassination. What in your view is going on, Mr. Bedi, right now? What is the pathology?
Well, Arnab, I'd like to ask you what is going on.
I have no idea.
I heard a little while ago, I think you wasted a lot of time on the previous chairman of the governing council of the IPL. That was a gross waste of time, honestly. That man had nothing to offer. And if he had something to offer, why is he on the run? Why is he not back home to rectify things? I can't figure that out. And I would like to ask now a very pertinent question. That all these franchises, over the period of 4 or 5 years that have been involved, they have not made any profit at all. Tell me which organization is going to be involved in any business losing year after year after year. Now, if this is not money laundering, I don't know what it is. Now, what we are referring to at the moment is the brawl and the thing going on in Delhi hotel. Well, that is not, as far as I'm concerned, that is not part of IPL. That is happening in a very private capacity. But for the present chairman of the IPL to suggest that all these parties which are taking place are private parties, it's like saying, you know, these cheerleaders are also there in a very private capacity. I think it's a load of rubbish. IPL, to my mind, is a monster created by this bloke now living in England, and is becoming bigger and bigger, this monster.
Well, the bloke living in England actually seemed to suggest that here, that if you let the bloke back, it will be a better tournament. But I'd like to go to Suhel Seth in London. Suhel Seth, you know, there are some serious questions out there. Now, my question to you is, at a broader level, a sting operation talking of spot fixing, then you have what happened at Wankhede Stadium, and then you have this. Now, it can all be one big coincidence, but it's certainly not a conspiracy. Is it, Suhel?
You know, Arnab, I just have 2 or 3 calm points to make. Calm point number 1. I agree with Bishen that the incidents that happened at the Wankhede Stadium and in this Delhi hotel are not exactly cricket or part of IPL. So let's not mix the metaphors. The second thing is, we've now become a country where if we disagree, we want to ban things. There is obviously something right about IPL. You know, I'm not an IPL fan. I've barely watched 3 games in my entire life. The reality is that there are advertisers, there are consumers, and there are spectators. So whether Kirti is right, it is not the purest form of cricket, but it is a form of cricket that lots and lots of spectators love. The fact that Calcutta goes up in arms every time Dada is playing is evidence of the fact that cricket or IPL does matter. So let's not throw the baby with the bathwater. I think the third point, and which you rightly identified, is there is a difference between the sting operation and between what happened as incidents that you call it. The sting operation is reflective of a criminal malified intent which needs investigation, not in television studios, but by the appropriate authorities, either the Enforcement Directorate or the CBI or whoever it is.
God,
so
Suhel,
let's not mix
Suhel, in April 2008, Lalit Modi said, no, 1 second, Suhel. In April 2008, Lalit Modi said, we will have a format that will revolutionize the way cricket is played, watched and followed globally. Now tell me this week, what has happened? And how is it being played, watched and followed? I find more action off the field than on the field.
1 minute.
Yes.
1 minute. Wasn't it Zidane who headbutted a fellow player in a football game? Did you give up on global football? Wasn't Wayne Rooney suspected of infidelity? Did you give up on Wayne Rooney? My point, Arnab, is don't mix the metaphors. These things are bound to happen. This is a heady concoction of entertainment, of Bollywood, of industry and of sport. Sport is not the important part here. What is important is the entertainment factor. This is not about cricket. It's not about stroke play.
Kirti is not about cricket.
It's about entertaining a bunch of people. It's entertaining Indians who are tired of being entertained either by politicians or by Saas and Bahus.
Yeah, Kirti Azad, it's not about cricket. It's about entertainment. Fairly frank, candid admission.
And I agree with Kirti.
Yes, no, I'm getting Kirti in. I don't know how you can agree with him. He hasn't even said anything yet, Kirti.
Because I heard the program before. I don't agree with people before hearing them out, unlike other people.
But he hasn't said anything yet on whether he agrees with you, because I think, Kirti, you agree with him that this is now about entertainment, not cricket, and should be welcomed? Therefore?
Well, we must accept the fact that we have only two entertainments in our country. One is cinema, the other is cricket. Cricket is pure. Cinema, you still may have a big question mark. It was pure so far till we had IPL 20. I have nothing against the game. The purists like Bishen Paji or me may not like the IPL 20 the way it is played. But then if the country likes it, I have no objection to it. Let people enjoy it. But the discipline part of it,
that's the point.
If that is broken, is something which is very important.
What discipline?
I'm a politician. When I go to my constituency, let me explain. I'm a politician. I go to my constituency. There might be 4 or 5 people fighting with each other, drunk or whatever. So I try and say, okay, fine. All of you get together. Don't fight. Don't go to the police station. Don't do an FIR. If I have that kind of an attitude on a cricket field, then you're going to have these brawls every day. You have to have the discipline maintained. When you sit along with the franchisees, go for their parties, you sit there and you are the one who is one of the members of the governing council or members of the governing council. When you go there, familiarity breeds contempt. And that's the reason. You've got to have a line pulled where you tell them you might have cricketers or whatever from, but this is what is the discipline that has to be maintained. When people go and play for their country, whether they play the test matches, one-day matches, or you have the board various tournaments, you have solid discipline there. So why can't you discipline your franchisees?
No, because you're saying everyone's too familiar with each other.
Franchisees are breaking the discipline. No, so everybody else is.
No, so Arun Lal, that's a valid point, isn't it? That this is one big incestuous club where everyone's familiar with each other and they are play acting in public. Arun Lal, your response to Kirti Azad?
Well, Arnab, let me first say that, I believe that this is a fabulous thing that's happened to Indian cricket. I think that there's another perspective to it all. I do believe that, it's now, all my life I've been involved with players' causes, and this is now an opportunity for a player to make a career, and not only the top 5 or 6 in the country. So not only is the IPL, but the fallout of it is better structure, better facilities, better coaching is going in. Let me finish. It's going into the rural areas. I know coaching going on to areas where it's never gone. And of course, there is pension for ex-cricketers.
So how much should be justified?
Payments. There is a lot of things that are happening.
How much should be justified?
Can we carry on? One moment, Arnab. Let me tell you, I'm justifying it. And let me tell you, before the IPL, 2020 cricket was not what India prescribed to. It was actually coined in England, where the viewership was declining. People were not coming to watch the game. I'm a purist. Purely, I believe, I enjoy the test cricket more than 2020. But nobody is saying that 2020 will be played and no test cricket.
Arun, you know what Spider-Man said?
Test cricket will
You know what Spider-Man said? Spider-Man said...
There is more viewership now.
No, you know what Spider-Man said?
You go to a stadium where a test match is happening, you'll find Kirti Azad, Bishen Singh Bedi and Arun Lal.
In an article I read about the IPL, a Spider-Man was quoted. And you know what Spider-Man said, Arun? Spider-Man said, with great power comes great responsibility.
Who's Spider-Man?
And he added, that is my gift, it is my curse. With great power comes great responsibility. That's what Spider-Man said. So you have the great power over the IPL. My question is, when the country asks, where's the responsibility, you can't turn away, can you? Can you do that, Tom Moody?
No, you can't. But, I tend to agree with what Suhel's comments were. And that is, there's a lot of positives. Yes, what's happened today and what's happened this week are incidences outside of the cricket, the game of cricket itself. And I think that's what we need to, clarify, that there is a divide. There is responsibility. There's no doubt that the owners of the franchise are very young in the process of being responsible for professional players. Professional players need to become more responsible, but both those hands need to, meet and, try to find some sort of ground where there is more professionalism on and off the field.
No, when the IPL started, Tom Moody, we had the owners talk a different language, right? We had the owners say, we are only the facilitators, it's actually about the cricketers, it's about the cricket, it's about the players, it's about the captains, we'll distance ourselves, we are not the coaches. We are only the shareholders. Something changed in between, didn't it? And that was the point I was coming to Lalit Modi about. That at one point of time, it became a little bit more about, the owners, the glamour, the glitz, rather than on the cricket itself.
Well, what's changed is emotion. I don't think the owners recognised how much emotion's involved in playing or being involved in the game. And once emotion takes control, people want to.
No, but what happens in other leagues globally?
I think we have very similar incidences throughout the history of sport, where you have players, having their issues, whether it be, fighting issues, whether it be drug issues or whatever it may be. That's just a given in all sport. It has been historically. I'm not saying...
No, but where's the response? My question tonight is on responsibility.
The responsibility is on the franchise.
So what is the responsibility of Sid Mallya then tonight?
No.
What is the responsibility of Sid? No, Suhel Seth says the responsibility is not on the franchise. That's absurd, Suhel. How can you say that? You want the attention, you want the glamour, you don't want the responsibility. I mean, that's bizarre.
I think the responsibility is not the franchisees alone.
Well. Why?
It is not of the franchisees alone. It is of an administration which should enforce discipline, which should set the benchmarks, no, it's not convenient.
It's very convenient.
See, everything can't be barbaric. We're not the Taliban here. You just can't wish away things. If you have a disciplined administrative mechanism which weeds out either corruption
franchisees are part of the system.
You will have situations.
Suhel, the franchisees are part and integral of the system. The franchisees are part of the system.
Again,
they have a share in the revenue.
Just because it's newsworthy doesn't mean it's bannable. Let's not mistake these issues in this way.
No, what's it? Like getting Sanjay Jha and then Kirti Azad is giving a response, opening up this debate.
Arnab, let me come to the root of the problem. You see, before the IPL happened, BCCI was a sloppy, corrupt, and absolutely an organization that had no accountability, no responsibility whatsoever. Now, in that state, it went ahead and franchised cricket even further to a whole lot of private corporate players whose only interest was a commercial motivation. So you had a weak parent who found a drunk godfather and said, here, take care of my child.
I am asking tonight...
No, that's the reason why you have a problem. Sidhartha Mallya's comments today on Twitter.
I want Sidhartha Mallya's behaviour.
He happens to be the son of the king of good times, who, by the way, is an owner of a huge public limited enterprise. Now, you cannot afford to make an irresponsible pedestrian statement, very sexist in nature, where there has been an assault that has happened on a player. He goes on Twitter, makes a very personal kind of a statement, almost as if he intends to be the future doctor of love or whatever, and it smacks of prejudging a woman who says that she's been assaulted. Now, I think that is an extremely poor taste, and that is the problem with the entire franchise structure. There's a lot of hubris. Yes. I can tell you what franchise owners feel. They feel they own Tendulkar. They feel they own Rahul Dravid. I'll give an example. The Bangalore team, the way they sacked a good man like Charu Sharma overnight, the way they terminated Rahul Dravid, it talked of a certain arrogance. If the public of India loves Tendulkar, they love Dravid, they love but you find franchise owners just like another employee.
But that's a commercial decision. If Rahul Dravid did not want to play IPL, he could have said, I don't want to play IPL.
Yeah, but there is no governance. You see, when you have the principal BCCI who can't...
No, but what's the governance when Rahul Dravid is willing to be
That's my point. That's my point. Create governance.
So we are coming down to the BCCI.
It is the root of the problem. The root of the problem, we have an institution that should voluntarily come under the RTI Act. And secondly, all political parties must come publicly and say that we will not allow our people to get into sports federations.
I'm sorry.
That is the root of the problem.
I don't know what political control over the BCCI is going to give Indian cricket either. No, I mean, it's jumping from the frying pan to the fire.
No, you get them out, you can professionalize it. I can tell you for every...
It's jumping from the frying pan to the fire. That's what it is.
No, I'm very optimistic, Arnab, that if you actually have good people running BCCI, I'm not a great supporter of the IPL, but the IPL can also sustain and grow.
I'm saying everything can be self-corrected, right? So my